Agenda morning session, Monday, December 1st, 2025. We'll get started, pledge allegiance. All right, Bolton Holdings.
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Justin Wise, and I'm a representative of Bolton Holdings out of Houston, Texas. About a week ago, I emailed you a copy of an introductory letter that basically outlines our scope of service that we've been requested through RFP for a very large-scale project here in Cameron. In addition, I also supplied everybody with the actual proposal, which outlines basically every step of the process for us. We're here today basically to ask for, number one, we're going to be applying for a commissary permit that would be held at the Family Dollar location. And then in addition to that, for us to be able to pull off the RFP at this rate of scope, we would need to also add 6 food truck permits. So these food trucks are not the traditional food trucks in a sense. These would be basically hooked to a dually truck, and they would be pulled into the LNG facility, and we would be feeding 8,000 people per day. So around the clock, 7 days a week, we'd be basically operating out of the 517 Marshall Street location, and then dispatching our product out to the field. So we're here today to ask for that consideration. In addition to that, we understand that housing is a premium here in Cameron Parish, so we are prepared to rent or lease some space. That's also outlined here in the proposal to build a small man camp for about 30 to 50 of our employees. All of the assets are rolling trailers, and again, all of those pictures of the equipment that we have are listed in the proposal. We wanted to make sure that you understood that we're not a mom and pop shop. We're intending to come in and really invest into this operation, not just for a year or 2 years, but we're hoping to build that relationship for the next decade or longer, however long that we can be here. We take pride in what we do. We do things at the highest level. The team that I brought here today, collectively, we have 225 years of experience in hospitality, food service, and industrial support. So we ask you today to please review all of our materials. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But I think that the letter that I sent you kind of outlines the proposal that we were given by Worley and LNG.
So you said something that caught my attention. Y'all's plans is initially to not service, say, at the dollar store place. Y'all gonna be pulling up on site to do the food truck business?
So the way it would work is the Dollar General would be used as our commissary location, and that's kind of our hub spot. And then we would have 6 basically food trucks. They're essentially on, if you go into the presentation here, it's going to be so it's listed as custom kitchen trailer number 1. We would have 6 of those basically that would go out into the parking lots per the RFP and serve at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. So basically we're working around the clock to be able to provide that food specifically contracted by this RFP.
Correct, because I know just from kind of paying attention to a lot of people, and it's supposed to be a good number of people, they're riding buses in from Lake Charles and soon to be probably Grand Lake. So there's a lot of people that's stuck, not able to, go out and get their lunch and move freely, so to speak. So
Exactly.
to me, that is way different than what I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be a bunch of food trucks along the street here.
No, sir. We've specifically been asked to serve 8,000 XYZ meals, basically at those bus stops. When they get off, they're handed something to eat as they go in, and that's their first meal. So, that's been contracted for, we're looking at potentially a 2-year deal, or longer.
You have
we
a
are-
contract with Venture Global, sir?
So this was through Worley,
Worley.
and we were one of the finalists. So I put several months into coming up with a plan to be able to service that RFP to the scope that they're asking us to.
And the living quarters, that's gonna be to house I guess y'all's employees
Correct.
to run this facility?
That is
Food
correct, sir.
truck?
In my opinion, we need to keep our crew centrally located. We need to be able to move them in and out efficiently, not to add more congestion to the traffic down here.
Correct.
I think it's gonna be safer for our team as well. So it's about 8 miles outside of downtown. We don't want them to commute from Lake Charles or Houston. These workers would be coming in and working, like a 30-day shift, and then they would kind of rotate in and out. We would love to be able to hire local folks if there's interest. I do know that there's been challenges with basically there's zero unemployment here. So we are prepared to solve that problem with folks that work for us.
Well, I know you answered all the questions I got, and to me, that would be a big game changer for the people and the businesses, because, with this plant work going on, there's a lot of people, and, the food trucks that's out there now and the stuff that's out there now, they're trying to keep up. But, to me, you're gonna be catering to a totally different clientele list than what these other ones are doing.
And our goal, again, this is step one in the process, just to establish us in this area. Once we get going, we kind of learn what we don't know. We would like to expand our ability to, help provide even more to the community.
Correct.
So when is your plan to start?
So we should have an answer for the final reward by January 1st is what we're looking.
Okay, so
We're-
we're not
we're ready
looking for a permit today then, correct?
Pardon?
I'd like to review this document before we issue any permits or requests.
Of course, this is just preliminary. If you vote today that you're willing to give us 6 additional food truck permits, because that's essentially what these trailers are, and a commissary permit, which we would go through the normal channels. I've already spoke to everybody in town who I need to, health department, et cetera. We would go through the, proper channels to apply and pay the fees for the correct licensing in order to do that.
And Worley is the one that you said came to y'all and
Yes, sir.
requested this?
Correct.
I'd like
Anybody
to-
hear
I'd like
from
to
Worley?
review more of that paperwork, give us time to read through this thing and see everything it pertains to, maybe even talk to a few people and, before, and I guess maybe January, we'll be ready maybe to.
Yeah, it could be January, could be a little bit later. Again, I think that's when the award date's going to be, but we need to be prepared to take action. We understand that there's a timeline and approval process, plus there's some, upfitting that we would need to do at the Family Dollar location as well.
Right, and everything you have in here is pretty much solid to the point where it's not gonna change on us in any way, shape.
That is correct. I've given you drawings basically for all the locations, all the equipment that we have. If you go to the appendix near the back, it'll give you a little bit more history on Bolton Holdings and what we do every day. And Tim Bolton is here, the owner, and Chris Bolton. They've owned this company for 40 years, and proud to be part of their team. They do amazing work, and I wouldn't be here if it weren't for them.
Katie, what we need to do, because I know that what the ordinance states and all that, is there a clause we could add because of kind of like the temporary permits on the trailers for the work being, instead of changing the ordinance and moving it around all this time, they're bound to be some type of temporary or 1-year permit, and we'll assess off of the workers and all that and the need for it. Instead of doing all this ordinance changing and that, what would your go-to be?
Yeah, but are you serving the general public or are your clients only behind?
My client's only behind the gates.
Yeah,
Basically in the
you might
parking
need
lots.
to change the ordinance.
Okay, so, if we don't need to change the ordinance, then we could look and see, but I think this plan, it sounds like a totally different clientele list than what all the other food trucks is. I mean, I like it, and then the fact that sounds like you're gonna have quite a bit of workers, and hopefully we can get somebody with some, locally maybe on board with y'all also.
Yep.
So, two questions from my end. Is the acquisition final on the dollar store? Y'all own it? Is it done?
So we would be subleasing from the current tenant.
Okay. And then next question is are you aware how many are in that final list from Worley?
To my understanding, there are possibly 2, maybe 3, but our understanding is 2, that we're holding finalists.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's nobody here locally that can handle that kind of volume, and a lot of the people that they're gonna be feeding are gonna be bussed in anyway, so they can't come out of the plant to eat one way or another. So that shouldn't affect any of our current food trucks that are already,
That is correct, sir.
but I would like it stipulated that you can't sell off the street like they do.
Understood.
And I don't think you have a problem with that.
We don't.
But-
That may change in the future.
Yeah,
If
the
we-
amount of volume that they're gonna be doing, I don't think we even had anybody close enough, and if they did, they'd be coming up with a proposal just as you are to do it.
Yeah, we have a plan to be able to execute flawlessly
But
and
this,
safely.
this shouldn't affect anybody locally as far as business goes, I wouldn't think, the way that I've read the proposal. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
So you will have a stipulation that you will not sell on the street then?
That is correct.
Okay.
I like it.
Question, Sam?
The camp that, will be housing the workers, where would that be located? Is there a map here?
There is, yes. So if you head back to section, it's gonna say 132 Pigtail Road. The next page shows you the basic layout of what we have planned. So we have housing trailers, laundry trailer, bathroom trailer, shower trailers.
And that's gonna be on site at the dollar store? Or
No, that'll be
somewhere
on site at the
Intel?
Pigtail location for our employees only.
Okay.
And on that also, would y'all be opposed to having a clause in there saying y'all can't rent out these trailers to people and it would be for y'all's employees?
Absolutely, not a problem.
It's just, a lot of concern, a lot of residents have RV parks and stuff.
Yep.
One more question. In y'all's experience of doing this in all the years, have y'all faced a storm where you've had to mow stuff out in timely manner?
Yes, sir, we have. Personally, this is before I worked with Bolton Holdings. I've been involved with hurricane relief efforts across the Gulf for the past 20 years. And I know that Bolton Holdings is a master at exactly what you're describing.
So if y'all moved in, are y'all coming in from Houston across the ferry, or have y'all?
Coming a long way around, and all of our assets are rolling assets, so we're able to skedaddle whenever we need to.
Okay.
What you think, Mr. Danny?
Sounds good.
This is our OEP director, Mr. Danny LeBurn.
Good plan, you just gotta make sure you execute it.
Yes, sir, that's the plan.
The main goal is, as long as the storm comes, to make sure y'all come back afterwards.
That's right. We will.
What is the time window? Say a storm's at the mouth of the Gulf. I mean, what is y'all's plan normally? How close does it have to get before y'all engage starting to evacuate?
We could wrap up in 3 days, we'd be out of here or less.
Okay.
And I would take it, y'all's stipulation or something in y'all's plan would say at mandatory evacuation or whatever, that's when it's time to roll out, correct?
That's right. Yep, absolutely.
Yep. All right, sounds like very legit.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
your
you,
time,
sir.
gentlemen.
All right, Mr. Daniel Salazar.
Got a card? Here's one.
Mr. Philip Dyson.
You still got a problem with these 18-wheelers with the J brakes? I live right there on School Street, 109 on the corner. And day and night, they're still J braking on that road, and it's keeping us up. And we got another problem, we got two more problems. Now, if we get a storm coming in the mouth of the Gulf, and it's headed for us, with all these vendors and campers, what's gonna happen to the local? You get campers going out of town, everybody start breaking down, having blowouts. What's gonna happen to the local? We gonna get trapped in there? Or y'all gonna make them leave days ahead of us? What's the plan?
Mr. Phillip, I think the best plan is what we already lived many times before, both you and I live down south also. I move all my stuff out, everybody else moves their stuff out. What the people can't get, unfortunately, is act of God. But first and foremost, I think Mr. Danny, the sheriff's department, and the local people have all the resources to make sure to clear the road out to get the people out.
Okay.
That's our main concern and priorities. And then on the Jake break, did the ordinance ever get finalized to where the sheriff department could enforce it yet, Ms. Katie?
I called deputy the other night because I've been having one of the plant workers racking his pipes in front of my house. I hollered at him one night. He got on Scott Trahan's land.
Yes,
He got
sir.
a big hauler and he'd been coming by my house and just racking his pipes. And I got out there one day. I called the police department. I called them 3 times. And they finally sent a deputy. I was sitting on the back of my truck with a box full of rocks, and I was gonna throw it at him.
Yes, sir.
Enough's enough. I mean, these plant workers, they gotta realize. And I was at the store the other day, and these workers going there, and my little granddaughters are going in the store, and they hollering stuff at them, Mexicans mostly. That ain't right. I mean, something needs to be done with some of these workers. They need to have this, they go in there buying beer, and they hollering at the few women that go there. There's not many women here, I understand that. But you hollering at teenage kids, 14, 15, 16 years old.
Has the sheriff wrote any tickets, Mr. Phillip? Or
What's that?
do you know if the sheriff wrote any tickets?
He told me they wrote, that one deputy told me in 3.5 months, he wrote 179 violations.
Four.
Seems like a lot.
He said he'd been writing a lot, but I don't know if he'd been writing any 18-wheelers up. I mean, it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. The last 4 days have been so peaceful, it's unbelievable.
Yes, sir.
But it started this morning with the same crap again.
And look, I'm staying where my place is, and then unfortunately, right now, I'm staying with my parents until my house is
I
done.
about imagine,
But they come in the curve, and look, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, I'm up with you, but I think the ordinance has to be finished before they could enforce it.
Yes, Mr. Dyson, it is finished. We're currently advertising. So in January, we'll have our public hearing, and the jury will vote officially to include that. It's going to be a new ordinance, and then the sheriff's office can start enforcing. Break.
Mr. Phillip, is it only vehicles like them racking their pipes and
yeah,
these engine brakes, or is it
it's
they're
just
actually
breaking it, using the.
groups of people outside?
They're gearing down. I mean, I heard it through the years. But it's, I mean, I live right there on the corner where they turn, and I like Mark. I mean, I hear it both ways, coming and going. They got truck with loud pipes, dual pipes, straight pipes. I mean, when I was a teenager, I thought it was cool, but when you're 60-something years old and you don't get much sleep, oh my God.
It's not, the people's not outside. I mean, like,
How close can this plant be from your house? I mean, it's a little over a quarter of a mile from my house now. Is there a limit in being, but I got people, family members live within 200, 300 feet from it.
According to what I was told, because I was asked by many people about a blast radius and all that, and I don't want to go too much into the weeds because I only know a little bit that I was told. Basically, the walls that they're putting up, the sheet piling walls, basically those walls is the radius of the blast zone. Of course, if you look at the FERC permit, a lot of people's getting it confused with what the reality of the blast radius is versus what FERC has in the permit. In the FERC permit, I believe it was described to me as if we was having a hurricane, a nuclear bomb, a bomb fell in the lightning storm with the flood, all these things at once happening, they put a blast radius a little ways further than that. But the reality of it is the plan, I think the walls is where the boundary is as far as people living by it, from what I was told.
Fences.
Correct.
What you think gonna happen when a hurricane comes and you got 15 foot of water with that 20-foot wall? Coming like this around everybody's houses, the one to live on the outside of it.
What did it do for Laura?
Hopefully it does
But
what it done for
it was a
Laura.
mile from my house before Lower. It's less than a quarter of a mile from my house now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but that breaks the wave that's coming. I know a lot of Cameron was saved by that, and then when you get to Grand Chenier, because I personally built some levees on Rockefeller, and those levees break the water that comes in.
Well, I lived on BJ Street for Lower. We had ring doorbells out, and you seen something white coming, and that was it. It was over. But you take something this wide and you put it this wide. I'm thinking worse. I'm thinking people on the outside of the wall are gonna get wiped out this time. I'm thinking. I'm hoping they just buy me out and I get the hell out of here, because I had enough of this place.
I hear
I
that.
never thought that in my 64 years of being here. I mean, that's the way I feel. I mean, can't sleep. You can't run your boat in the channel. I went shrimping this morning in the old river. They got 3, 4, 5, 6 barges wide. They got 3/4 of the river blocked. They got all the docks. They're running people out the few boats they got. They ain't got hardly no place to tie boats no more. Fletcher Global done rented it all up. And it's gonna be a problem next year, because you can't stack boats, barges 4, 5, 6 wide where we push at. I mean, the bank spot is where we catch our shrimp. And they're pushing us out over halfway to the channel right now.
Mr. Phillip, well, like Katie said, we are currently advertising, so in January, we'll accept that. And, but in the meantime, keep calling the sheriff.
I
If
will.
they're racking pipes, that's something totally different than engine brakes. I mean,
Yeah.
there is they do have to be quiet at night,
Yeah.
not just
I mean,
harassing.
we haven't blown the train horns. I had a couple of trucks that blew train horns at night, woke me up.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some kind of tickets they can write, because I remember when I
They'll
was in high
find
school.
I was
got a
video
few of them
one day and I
myself.
had 3 cops on the road, and one cop called me a liar, so I sent the video to the sheriff, and he viewed the video.
We can't, put some signs up. I mean, I've seen
I don't think we can put the signs up for the engine brakes until the ordinance passes, because it's not legal until it passes.
Once,
Which,
once it is, we.
yeah, correct. We would, I would think we would have to, absolutely have to put signs. So, you know, I hate to say it, Mr. Phillips,
Oh, I know.
sometimes government takes time. With progress, there's always change, but there's always laws and rules that you cannot be broken. So if anybody's breaking any laws or rules,
Just call the sheriff, call the sheriff's department, let them
whatever the
decide.
problem may be.
Okay, well, thank y'all.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Appreciate you. Mr. Daniel Salazar, still not here? All right. Getting the review.
Is Kara here today?
I'm here.
Questions on a permit question.
What you got?
All right, you wanna go over C with us a little bit? Has that been?
See, that's the property, used to be Airlog Logistics there, years ago, so, their venture will be using it as a, material storage, equipment parking, and also laydown area. It basically has a lot of gravel, limestone already on the property, but they are gonna improve and add additional driveways and some drainage improvements along the road there. So, there was a little bit of wetland impacts on the property that they're gonna avoid. It was very small, so, you have any other questions specific
Oh,
to
yeah,
the?
but I mean, on
Is
that
there
one,
any residents around there?
No. They're actually on the south end of where our maintenance barn is.
yeah, have we checked with our drainage department? I see they're gonna be putting some culverts.
The drainage swells and that, yeah. Mhm.
Has our drainage department looked at
They haven't approved it yet, but it is, they'll be approving it at their January meeting.
Okay. And, my next question would have to do with D. You wanna tell us what that was?
D and E, let's see, yeah. D and E are basically both the same. They're doing environmental assessment. I think it's actually litigation, so.
Right, did they give you a spot on 82? I see 80.
Yes, I do. It's about 2 miles west of the school.
Okay.
It's on the south end. I do have a map I can show you.
South of the highway.
Yes, south of 82. But it is 2 miles west of the school.
It's the old General American. Okay, that's all the ones I got for Kara. I don't know if anybody else
And then
has.
permit B,
B.
that's just an after-the-fact repair,
Yes, it's an after-the-fact repair. That's
nothing else
correct.
attached to that?
Nope. The repairs have been fixed, and so it's just they have to apply for an after-the-fact for all the EUAs they apply for.
And, Mr. President, my next question would have to do with North Cameron Emergency Operations Center. Danny, you wanna take these?
I don't know anything, I'm not the project manager, I'm just a tenant, and the first time I see this is on the voting meeting, so.
We have somebody
I
here
wasn't
that
in the
can,
loop
so-
on these changes.
Huh?
Yeah, they're,
Told you I was gonna show up. No, thank y'all. Derek Porche with Porche May Architects. We're architect on North Cameron Emergency Operations Center. Here to address a couple of change order requests. You want me to go through them? Yep, just kind of.
I would like to ask this question. I know that this thing was planned and engineered beforehand, and we've had numerous, change orders already. Is this normal for to have this many change orders for something that small?
Yeah, as far as delays in manufacturers, actually manufacturing certain items and extending their own, you know, when they said they'll have it delivered by X date, and then they call back and say, hey, we ran out. There's a couple of those. There's a transformer we never got from the utility company from Jeff Davis, you know, that prevented us from driving in the building. So change orders are very common. They give credits and debits. It's an ebb and flow of accounting. Not necessarily a change in design, but a record keeping for an accounting purpose. So in that light, to answer your question again, it's not uncommon. They are a very common practice to keep projects like this in order for accounting purposes. I will say in the grand scheme of the overall project, which is, I just have a tally, we are very successful with our kind of numbers. I mean, we're very close to the original sum.
So my question would be, I think, you know, with delays and unforeseen stuff, I could understand maybe the time changing and pushing back.
Mm-hmm.
On one of these, it says the contract's gonna increase for $1,761.97 because the cast stone delays.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it going up? To me, that should stay the same.
Yeah.
And if there's unforeseen costs, in my opinion, I think that should be paid by the contractor or the engineer.
Yeah, in most, yes, the assumption on kind of the, looking at, now, to clarify the cast stone delays and the numbers, the actual dollar values, when these are submitted, they're submitted and then time goes on and it's record keeping. So when this first change order for a delay in time, the cast stone, and I'll explain, the cast stone was submitted, we require contractually for a contractor to have insurance, et cetera. The list is long, K-John's all the way down, right? Safety, the whole thing. When they had the final, hey, it's on the way, and they could summarize or at least tally up their days, because it was unknown for months, you know, we're trying to figure out when this stuff's gonna hit the ground. Then they said, okay, let's archive this, and we have to extend our insurance. That cost for the $1,700 and, let me be clear, $1,761.97 was the extension to their insurance premium. I'm not an insurance agent, but it's what they incurred to extend their insurance. Now, they are required to do that. If they do not have insurance, they have bigger problems on their hands.
So by doing so in this specific change order, the amount of time was great enough, almost 2 months, that they had to get that extended. So the cost was incurred specifically for change order 12. However, the following change orders, I can clarify, also have time, but they've already extended 2 months, and it was essentially part of a kind of umbrella of time. You can't ask for time if you're already getting it, right? I mean, you can't ask for more insurance than you already paid for. So their extension of insurance covered the remaining delays, which is the transformer. If the transformer delay would have happened first, I'm sure they would have filed the paperwork with the number there. It's just this was the first one that came through. But the cast stone themselves, I can explain a little bit on how that prevented the drying in of the building, which prevents, you can't install a lot. You can't install the roof without the cast stone in the way that this is. So the remaining change orders, it was talked about dispersing the sum of that insurance premium amongst the change orders. However, that wouldn't be accurate accounting because they weren't incurred at the time of the other change orders. So paperwork-wise, it makes sense. Again, we require them to have insurance. If the days are granted, if the jury agrees that this wasn't a contractor's fault, then because we require them to have insurance for the duration, it is common, and we have had this as a precedent, to where the premium would have been absorbed through the actual project themselves. But I can kind of clarify the change orders. I don't want to get too far out there, but the days are absolutely, I mean, we can go through them. But the contractor said, and we were at the meetings, the cast stone, 54 days before they could put a roof on. I'm sure there was a period of time when y'all probably got some calls. Maybe a lot of it wasn't happening. There was a couple weeks here or there. These are those weeks. And I'm here now that we have facts, dates. We've got past these things. They're not subjective. They're not hypotheticals. We have actual dates and invoices and shipping tickets. So that's why this is coming to a head now. The cast stone had to be installed before the roof. I can clarify that a little bit
Why is
more.
the price change? I understand the days and pushback fully.
Mm-hmm.
What's the price change? Did they not buy it if they was out of stock or whatever, and then now they bought it at a different price?
No,
What's the
the
17?
manufacturer, they already engaged in a contract. That's kind of what them and their subs, but they were engaged in a purchase, and manufacturer just said, we don't have it, we'll send it to you when we get it.
Well, I understand that, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not hearing an answer to why it's 1,700 more when we paid for the capstone and it was.
The 1,700 is not for material. It's for the insurance premium that they had to purchase to contractually not. I mean, we would have hit them with a lot worse penalties if they would not have insurance on this property. So that is an insurance cost. That is not a material cost. It is not a labor cost. It's a insurance premium that they had to purchase due to the extended time.
So
Contractor.
that-
The contractor,
that-
yes, sir.
To me, that's for the.
Contractually, he has to have insurance no matter what. Whether the days are his fault or not, he has to cover this insurance. So that was purchased for this.
So in every bid, we pay for the insurance also? To me, that should be a
Well,
hidden factor in the price. That's, to me, that's the contractor's issue.
Correct. Everything the contractor pays for, we pay them per pay app. So yes, they paid for it, but whenever they request a pay app, we pay them. But as far as the number, the insurance premium, I would just suggest that in the contract, we make it very clear that they have to cover insurance, and the costs were based on their previous submissions. It wasn't a random number. But having said that, you're well within your right to make any decision. I'm here to make sure that there's days, and there's another item I want to address on here. But the days regarding the cast stone, we were all waiting on.
So this is actually in my district, and you're asking for another 4 months.
We're still not out the woods yet, too, by the way. There's another, I'll be back in January. They don't have gas. Can't get gas. I think Centerpoint, we're waiting on Centerpoint. So,
I know my biggest question would be, and this is directed towards Katie, I know we can't discuss their fees or nothing like that, but with staying in the gray area, I would like to know what it's costing us every time we do a change order to their firm or whatever you want to call them. Because I know there's a percentage in there for every change order and every dollar amount. I would like to see that also.
Do we get anything for credits? Only goes one way. But having said that, the money, I'm just here to clarify, this was submitted to me by a contractor. I started off with 38,000, but all that was rejected, and it was said, a response from I think it was y'all's office said, we're not entertaining anything except the insurance. So I was just here to, but yes.
Yeah, no, but my thing is looking at it from a business perspective. If I'm doing a job and say it's gonna take X amount of days and something happened and whatever fell through, that's one of the things to me that whoever's made that business decision should eat it.
So,
Yeah, we could definitely engage with Jeff Davis Electric and CenterPoint, and but we're the second item. I'm sorry, you're going to say something?
yeah, I was just gonna answer his question. So, Mr. Daigle, as a contract increases because of the change order, typically your architect, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 6% of what y'all are charging on the sliding scale. So as your construction price goes up, what we're gonna pay them is gonna increase by about 6%. But to his point, as we receive credits, then what we pay them will decrease by that 6%.
Correct, but more so it been going up instead of down in this case.
Actually, I think it's only
$3
went up.
million. We're at $3,011,000.
And,
Yeah,
and
so-
from what I was researching,
it's
it wasn't on
actually-
this topic. It was on another
It'll go
topic.
down from there. So
They got their percentage for their job, but they also got a percentage per every change order.
Yes, they do. As it increases, they get paid. They're able to bill at a higher rate, and it's
Correct.
about that 6% mark.
Correct.
make sure that and you'll see in another item to make sure that this is handled properly. We absolutely are doing our due
Well,
diligence.
you got the $1,700. It's not much, but when you take a $3 million job and you throw another 1% interest on top of it, it's
Yeah, and
crazy.
this is for I'm the architect. This is for the contractor's insurance.
What's the big picture you mentioned? You
So,
said the project
Is
projected
at $3
cost?
million? The last pay app shows us at $3 million, and so we have a change for the past year of about $11,000, and it's about to go down. So we'll have a less than $6,000 change, and some of these are owner elected. I think 8,000 of it right now is a choice made by the jury. So just statistically speaking, I'm very happy with our work, and I'm very happy with the building we're getting, fighting for that. So we're not, our standards are pretty high for them. So the $1,700 is an insurance premium that they're required to keep. I just want to make sure the days are the most important for me right now, is because it is, in our professional opinion, it is not the contractor's fault that things were delayed for either a manufacturer delay or a utility company, and et cetera. These are none of these that we would not recommend to accept or contractor fault for the delays in time. I wouldn't have recommended acceptance.
If the delay is because they can't get materials, then to me, that's a contractual issue. That is not our problem.
That absolutely, but what I want to make sure is that the decision made to not grant days could penalize, not just it's not a neutral answer. It is a penalization.
I don't think we got a problem with giving more days, even though we'd like people to honor their contracts. It sounds like Mr. Ronald has a problem, that's in his district, but our deal is to make sure we spend our money wisely, and paying for a contractor's insurance when he should be going to talk to Jeff Davis Electric or this stone company being the supplier because they're late on producing what they're supposed to be. To me, that should be a discussion between those people and not the jury. But, Ms. Kayla, if you can, for our next committee meeting, I would like to just say on this job, I'd like to see what the percentage was when they started engineering it, what it's up to now, and what it was in that, just to further look into it, at our meeting.
Just to reciprocate it.
So,
It's
so
just-
you're gonna ask for some additional days besides what I'm looking at?
Yes, we have a few on here. So just taking it from the top again, I apologize, but we'll kind of go through it. So change order 12 is the Castone conversation. The days are all documented. We've submitted that documentation. And I know the employee from the police jury was a part of all of these. We have that documentation too. So it wasn't uncommunicated. It was communicated throughout the entire process at all of our weekly meetings. So number 14, I'm actually going to say that I don't want to approve that for the number. Looks like some math that they might not have included. I'm gonna leave it with, I don't see any labor. So just change order 14 is a wall base. They installed a 4-inch, we called out a 6-inch. So we can give any questions, but again, I plan on coming back to that. So I don't feel like that the value is there, and I think that we might have, or they might have missed something. Let's see. Change order 15, this is the transformer delay. It was started so you have to have permanent power to climatize the building before you can install anything with adhesives. This goes as paint, flooring, cabinets, casework, et cetera, fairly large amount. The delay in getting the transformer on site is what those, I think, 29 days are asking for. Okay. And the dovetail anchor delay, this was these are anchors that the mechanical sprinkler systems, anything suspended from above. Those are integral to the roof deck, and the manufacturer essentially put it in writing that they undersupplied their manufacturing plant and they were placed on back order. And we have that documentation, but it's a very similar conversation to the cast stone. All of these times got absorbed in the 2-month extension insurance policy that he had to get. Does that make sense? So all these days are part of that, coverage. So, but the days are what I'm really here to make sure that we.
I have no problem with the days, but the problem is with these contractors, when they bid on this stuff, they know there's gonna be delays. They need to, and if I'm submitting a bid, I have percentages in there for stuff just exactly for this, because it happens. Every job it happens. And a lot of times contractors bid on this stuff and don't get them because they've added it in already and know that that's gonna happen. And then they're beat out by somebody else, and then their masters are going to you guys, and you finding a way to approve an additional amount of money. The days are no problem. Look, if they can't get the stone, they can't get the stone. And we wait on parts every day for some kind of crap. But the long and the short of it is, I fail to see how we should be responsible for that insurance. I don't care whether it's $100 or $10,000. They should have factored that into their original bid. They should have. They can't factor in that they can't get the materials that they're gonna get, but they can factor in additional insurance or additional days or whatever, and then they're gonna incur that cost. So I don't.
I agree. It's a low bid process and state laws.
But people get beat every day.
Yes, sir.
Because they add something in that they know is gonna more than likely happen, and then somebody else doesn't, knowing that they know how to go circumvent the system and get more money out of it.
I'm not gonna argue that it doesn't happen.
Happens every day.
I'd love to have a large cup of coffee talking about that process.
I'll be
But yes,
glad to
sir,
have
and that's why I'm here mostly. I wanna make sure that the clarification on the situation for the days, delays, conversations.
Days are no problem.
That's, yes, but,
If the tenant's good with it.
all of these started with much different, requests. They ended up here after a lot of vetting from our office and conversations back and forth. I just wanna say, these weren't just submitted and then I showed up.
Appreciate
I just
it.
wanna be
And
clear.
I do have a problem with the days, sir.
Okay.
Time and time again, I pass by there several times a day, and many days, there was nobody there.
Yes, sir.
Many days.
They don't have material.
Yeah,
So-
I understand.
Well, they're building a building, I'm sure there was other things could have been done there in this town.
There were, in their original submissions, maybe did not clarify that, and we found those things and said, no, these are critical path items, you have to be more specific. And so those revisions and edits, yes, sir. But I completely agree with but having said that, I'd love, when I come back in January, to clarify the change order for 14. I'll also have one for gas utility provision. There's nothing, they can't get fire marshal inspection or start drying in the building until they have a permanent supply of
What's the hurdle on that?
oh, that's the transformer, that's the gas line, I'm sorry. CenterPoint, again, CenterPoint says we'll be there, so, I don't wanna speak for them, but the contractor has showed us communications where they are constantly trying to get someone out there to essentially hook it up.
They were there
They dug
last
the
week.
line.
Last week, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
they
that's what's
were there
happening,
last
so.
week.
I seen them putting the line down.
Yeah.
the gas line.
I mean, these,
somebody did.
yeah, this is a live kind of documentation of events, so yeah, they finally got out there. So,
To recap, you are requesting the jury to remove change order 14 from the agenda?
yes,
Right. Mary, you got it? Okay, guys.
What's the original deadline of this building?
ooh, might have to,
October?
yes, it's, October 31st, no, that's the period of the pay app. Contract date was the 24th of April, 2024. Let's see. It's right, it's now. I mean, I would say it's happening as we speak. I just don't have the exact date and I don't want to misspeak.
So what is the completion date?
That's like,
Substantial completion.
like what their goal is, what they're aiming for, not what was passed. Now that gas is hooked up, I can get back to you. I didn't have that answer when I didn't know that Centerpoint showed up, so.
I think we're shooting for January substantial completion and have a punch list item.
We are punching
For
it
what,
out.
Ken? January?
January.
Which
Just
year?
ask for 4 more months.
I just, we're doing the punch out
That's
next
what
week.
they're requesting substantial completion for. You don't have to approve the days. You can still have substantial completion without approving the days for change orders. It just, you would assess liquidated damages for those days.
That's right. The liquidated damages with the contractor wants to make sure that they get out ahead of, because of the case-by-case conversations rather than, but yeah, we're gonna be punching out the building, me and my team, next week. I mean, we're trying to get you the keys. So, but these things are happening live stream, so I don't make any promises I can't keep, but I can certainly get you any answers you need.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
And Ronald, I got one last question.
Go ahead, Mr.
Maybe Katie, you might be able to answer this one. 18?
Yeah, Mr. Sunday, Mr. Alex called me. I don't know if he called you or not, but I think Venture wanted to close off that road. But with recent issues and road bonds and stuff, I would like us to table that until we get further information.
That was the question I had, is who else uses that road, and how we're gonna be causing anybody, and I know in the advertising, they would have a chance to come speak, but we maybe can't even advertise if it's gonna cause hardship on other people.
Correct. I would like to see it knocked off of there. I know it's in your spot, but he called for me to get with a few people back there.
We can table it.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I got, Mr. President.
You want to table it, or do you want to just go ahead and
Yes, sir.
remove it, Mary?
Well, it's gonna come back up, I'm
If we have
assuming.
any changes. Anything else, gentlemen?
Mr. President, I have one add-on. It's gonna be item 7E. It's an appointment. South Cameron Fire Board to appoint Ashley Trahan to an open seat. And then removal of item number 9, change order 14 for the North Cameron EOC.
Mr. President, can we discuss the camping RV ordinance that's on the agenda, 19? Your ADA's here to answer questions. I think before we finalize this, we just want to make sure this is still the intent or majority of the jury, and now's the time to make any changes and discuss that with Mr. Araby.
Was we sent the finalized of it, Mr. Bryan?
This is the latest draft. It's in your packet, and if you need to make any changes,
Yeah, that's just a beach camping, correct?
correct.
So, Mr. Bryan, what do we have in place now? Because I was told the sheriff department was able to get rid of a few campers already, so what went on then versus what we need to change now, I guess, so to speak?
I believe they approached them, I don't know the specifics on that, but I understand they approached them and talked to the people, and my appreciation is they left. They might have wrote them some kind of ticket for another basis. I'm not
Voluntarily left.
Yeah, voluntary, okay. And you want to read this one for the record? I can't see that.
Yeah, I can. See if I can see it. With the exception of privately owned property, overnight camping on Cameron Parish beaches is limited to a total of 7 days in a 30-day period. Campers must secure a permit from the Cameron Parish Permit Department and comply with any regulations and/or requirements set forth by said department. Failure to comply with the provisions of this ordinance or the issued permit shall be punishable by a fine of up to $500 plus court costs and/or up to 30 days in the parish jail.
So is that saying that anybody that wants to camp on the beach has to get a permit before doing so?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
that's what it says. Tom and I discussed this morning, and the idea was brought up possibly, one option would be is to say if you're gonna camp for more than so many days consecutive, say 3 days or whatever you guys feel is appropriate, and maybe only after that you should have to have a permit. And that might be the best way to handle it. Still having the total of 7 days in a 30-day period, because the importance of that is, and that's just borrowed from practices, I think, from state parks and other facilities. And the idea is, you know, you don't want to have somebody just getting a permit, renewing a permit perpetually, and then staying there for, you know, an endless period of time. So this requires a 30-day break in, you know, or a break in between times when they would come. But yeah, that is an option certainly if you wanted, if you guys like it better that way, is to allow some shortened period of time with no permit at all.
I know for Rutherford Beach, I would like that because, I mean, we had 3 or 4 campers that we, you know, supposedly people had an issue with. And to turn around and make everybody else jump through a bunch of hoops over 2 or 3 people is kind of insane to me. So I would like to maybe, like I said, at least for Rutherford Beach and Broussard Beach, try to adjust it where we could find some better verbiage, I guess, so to speak. Or maybe give the beach board the authority, because, I mean, a lot of them stay out there and watch it. And, you know, if they got somebody that and everybody knows everybody, especially the ones that's come from out of town, because I know they got some people come up north. They'll stay a month, 2 months out there.
Right. Yeah, I would think, you know, if somebody's gonna be there, you know, I don't know, I'd leave it up to you what y'all think, but maybe give people 3 days or 4 days or 5 days or something, and then after that, if they're gonna be more than that many days, require a permit.
I would.
5 days sounds good.
Yeah, I got 2 points I'd like to clarify. One has to do with, you said something in that paragraph about private property. Half that beach is claimed by people where the beach is eroded. I mean, so you have to be careful with that statement because we wouldn't be able to stop anybody. And the second thing is that's state-owned property. I'm sure we're limited, and the state's gonna have to step in at some point in time and take a little responsibility on their property, correct?
I've
In
been
state
talking-
law, so
I've been trying to get the state guy on the phone, especially for like abandonment of those roads. And I think Mr. Bryan's on the same
Our
page.
ordinance would be more of a vagabond type ordinance than it would be a camping ordinance, am I correct? Or a gypsy ordinance, whatever you wanna call it, where people would just come and stay. Wouldn't be, really don't wanna mix that up with camping where the people come for recreation and wanna camp for a couple of days. So I just think we might need to work on this a little bit before we.
The issue I have with it, Mr. Sonny, and to be transparent, is that if we leave it like that and somebody calls and does a complaint on somebody, we have to follow those guidelines. And right off the bat, I know that a lot of people come every year at the same month. I think it's a total of 8 people from up north. I don't know if it's Illinois or where. They come spend a month on the beach. Of course, they go everywhere else. But in doing so, this is only gonna let them stay 7 days. You know, it's what's 7 days in a 30-day period?
Without a permit.
Yeah.
No, that's with the permit. You gotta get a permit from the verbiage in here.
I think with the
This-
state, you gotta break camp if you change location. You just can't stay in one spot.
Yeah, you can get up moving, that's what I'm saying, but the way this is worded, I don't think it's copying it from the state. It's, you know, they talk about breaking camp, but this would put people in 1 month, they could only stay 7 days on the beach if they followed the guidelines. I think
But I think
for
if you
my 2
change spots,
beaches,
the clock starts over.
correct. But I would like it to be a little different for the month.
Gentlemen, this is your ordinance, and so it can say whatever it is you want it to say. This was just a first draft
Correct.
in response to the direction you provided a few months ago. So you
It's
can-
our ordinance on state property though.
it's okay, no, but that's within our jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And the state acknowledges that.
Just from dealing with all the complaints and the people calling, I don't like it. It would be used against a lot of people that's not hurting the beach. So I would like to see it changed to where maybe after 30 days, then you would either have to have a permit or pushed off or something, so to speak.
So camping with that, would be permissible up to 30 days without a permit, and after 30 days, you'd have to have some type
Yeah.
of permit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd like to see that private property thing taken out of that one altogether. Because there shouldn't be any private property past the dune on the beach. There shouldn't be any private property if the state follows their rules. If not, then it's all contested anyway. I mean, you go to Hollow Beach, people own 300-400 feet in the Gulf,
Right.
not more.
Well, they did at one point, right?
Well, I mean, they still claim it because it still shows up on the tax roll.
Mr. Sonny, we have that exception about privately owned property in there because we can't really enforce anything on privately owned property.
If we're on the
have
beach,
to
there
acknowledge
is no private property. Am I correct in that?
Well, it's, I think the law is it's up to the, what is it, the mean high,
The
Mean
high
high
mean
tide.
tide.
mean high water mark, wherever that is, and beyond that is private, right?
Okay, well, I mean, you guys have to deal with it when they come up and say, well, I own this property because it was in my family 20 years ago and when it was still land. You're gonna have to deal with it.
Are people paying taxes in the water?
Yes.
Tax assessor saying yes.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I just,
Hold on to mineral rights.
So,
I
are
just
y'all
don't want
ready?
it to be able to be used against the people that's doing the right thing and that's coming, for a month or so.
Right.
And, just with some of the complaints I got, if they call on them, we would have to push them out, and I don't want that. So if we can maybe adjust it or send me an email or something, or all of us or whoever, but
So do you want to remove it from the agenda and with the direction to change the 7 days to 30 days, consecutive days?
either remove or table it, but,
We'll remove it.
I would definitely not want to move forward with the way it's written.
Okay, so we'll remove it and, make those changes and represent it to you guys in
There you go.
January.
Appreciate
So,
it, Mr. Bryan.
30 days?
Thank you, bro.
Is that
Appreciate
the
it.
majority? 30 days seem fair?
I got some questions about that. Number one, on permits, where would they get the permits here? So if they show up here on Friday afternoon to go camping, where are they gonna get a permit if they're leaving on Sunday? Second of all, 30 days, I wanna know where they're dumping their sewage. Cause there's nobody got a camper big enough to hold, especially gray water, for probably more than a couple of days if they're taking showers with all that sand and fish and everything else they got on them. So are they gonna be responsible to show where they either paid some sewer company to come pull it off of them, or what they gonna do? Are they just dumping, they're just dumping it on the beach. So here we are talking about camper spots and how many can go in a lot, and how big the sewer system needs to be, and then we're putting campers on the beach that are dumping it right on the ground. That's something that needs to be looked at.
It's illegal to dump on the ground.
They're doing it,
But
you
who's
can better
enforcing
believe they're doing it.
Yeah, oh yeah. Who's enforcing?
All good discussion.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're gonna remove it?
Yes.
Definitely needs some more talk
Yeah, look at it.
some more, maybe back and forth on some emails, Mr. Bryan, or something.
Sure. Yeah, we can circulate another, or come up with another version, which accommodate some of these things.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Brian.
All right. Any other questions?
The only thing I got, Mr. President, for, the recreational park visions, you go down to section 4 or whatever it is, spacing of RV vehicles.
Okay.
Why are we putting a building code in the ordinance?
Okay, so we were supposed to address that. This was one of many versions that we drafted and reviewed, and this was not supposed to be included in the ordinance at all. So what we're gonna do is we were gonna request you guys, after the hearing, we have to have the hearing on this ordinance because we advertised it. The conclusion of the hearing, we're gonna ask that you remove this particular version and get authority to re-advertise, and we're gonna advertise a different draft, and I think Mary's got it ready for you guys to review, and it's only adding, it has no mention of the spacing requirements or the building codes. And that draft was emailed to you guys last week, which was supposed to be the final draft that was advertised, and that's gonna be the draft that's gonna be advertised starting through January.
One question on that spacing deal. I think we had some issues with some people complaining about spacing already. Another thing would be, would we get with the fire marshal and find out if there's any restrictions on how close they can be, because it would be an issue for our fire department.
I think Ms. Robin doesn't look that up.
Building
Sonny,
codes.
there is restrictions, but that's the due diligence of the CBO's responsibility whenever it comes to it, and because they gotta give a plan before you give a permit, correct? If that shows their spacing's closer than X amount of feet, he's supposed to kick it out. That's the building codes. It's not in in what we need to be pertained about. And then if it's something for the fire marshal needs to come get involved, and we don't need to be using the police jury to
Well,
do their
I
job.
want to say that we've already got problems with the spacing today, already.
Correct?
Because the CBO or whoever has not been doing their job. So we want to be careful that we don't get into and allow more problems if we change our ordinance to allow such. So we want to be very careful about spacing. And just because it doesn't have to be the same as the building code, there may be fire marshal restrictions on that spacing. We want to make sure we follow the rules.
It's in a building code. It's in XYZ building code. So for houses and everything else, we're gonna put wind load studs, all this other nonsense.
No.
We don't need to muddy it up.
No.
There's certain places, we do our step and it gets pushed to somebody else to do their step. And sometimes, most commonly, they don't follow the rules and regulations, unfortunately, and that's when we gotta address them.
Well, they're not following them now, and that's one of the reasons that we're having this discussion as we speak.
Right.
So I want to make sure that whatever we do answers the problems that we've been given.
So do we take it off, Katie? We're not gonna advertise it if we need to change it, correct?
We're gonna get authority to advertise the correct version.
Okay.
And so we're gonna show this at the voting meeting, what the final draft is, and y'all can review it, and you can give us authority to advertise it, or if you wanna propose new changes, that would be the appropriate time to voice those concerns.
And also, one more thing while we're talking about making changes. I know I spoke with Tom, and Tom spoke with all of us, and I gave him a lot of information and documents about the porches to be excluded on the square footage. Or we made any heads or tails or anything on that?
We have some guidance directly from their regional staff FEMA that advised us not to exclude porches, that they said it would be in direct violation of
So
our code.
why are they allowing the state to sell them as square footage and not include the porches?
Well, FEMA doesn't regulate state.
Well, I understand that. That's why I challenged Tom to run it up the pole and not just call FEMA and ask for their opinion.
Right, yep. So, Mr. Tom apologizes, he's not here, he's not able to be here today, he's in court. But that's definitely something that we can discuss.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, guys? All right.
Do you guys wanna talk about the holiday schedule, the meeting schedule? Especially the meeting schedule, we're proposing a change from the first Monday of the month to the second Monday of the month. Is there any discussion about that? That works for most of you, for the public? What about meeting times?
Keep them the same.
Okay.
We already barely get y'all out of here on time as it is.
On the holiday schedule, what is Acadiana holiday?
It's the Friday after Thursday, and
Every Friday.
I mean,
after Thursday.
Thanksgiving, yeah, not Thursday, Thanksgiving. And we've always observed it. And it's a state holiday. I don't think.
Well, didn't the
it's
governor add a day this year, huh?
The governor has added numerous holidays through 2025, and he's gonna add.
And so this is the holiday schedule. This is, you know, the same amount of holidays that we observed last year. Most of these are state or federally recognized holidays. The only one that is specific to the parish is Audrey Memorial Day. Now, some of your local offices do observe Hurricane Rita Day, but we haven't observed that in at least probably 5 or 6 years. So we have 2 floating holidays that we rotate depending on when Christmas or New Year's falls. If it falls on a weekend or in the middle of the week, for the staff, we place that floating holiday around Christmas. On a year where it falls later in the week or at the beginning of the week, then we just go place it on a federally recognized holiday. And our half days that we recognize are the Fur Festival, January 9th. We will close at noon, and our entire staff goes to the Fur Festival and eats lunch and helps set up and everything on Friday. And then we have the day before Thanksgiving and New Year's Eve. Any discussion? Changes?
The day before Thanksgiving was added this year.
No, sir,
No, okay.
we've closed half a day on Thanksgiving. I've worked here for 18 years, so at least for 18 years.
Just ask. Any questions? Any other questions, Sonny?
Move to adjourn.
A motion by Mr. Sonny. Second by Mr. Sam. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. President, you want to set the time to call the next meeting to order? It's 11:06.
About 11:20. Good?
Sure.